there's one thing shonen fans are familiar with, it's the Shonen Jump acts. Every series must go through a time period of survival around its debut. The reception of fans, popularity, and sales being the main indicator of what we'll see in the next chapter and what will end abruptly with so much potential. Over the last 3 years, we have seen a lot of manga cut short even in the midst of its story. P x6, The Hunters Guild, Red Hood, Candy Flurry, Doron, and most regrettably, Phantom Seer. While some stories did lack the long-term survivability, Phantom Seer, if anything, is still by far the most disappointing acting yet. It really begs the question of what Jump is truly looking for when it comes to a good series. I feel like sometimes they don't even realize what a good series looks like even if it was ways right in front of them. Now recently, I have been trying to branch out and give some of the recent debuts a try. The one that caught me by surprise is Fabricate 100 by Daisuke Enoshima. Similar to my initial feeling with Undead Unluck, this is by far one of the most refreshing concepts when it comes to a battle shonen. A story dealing with Frankenstein-like entities known as fabricants, each of them having the goal to become the ideal human, which can be obtained by stealing body parts that they lack in order to achieve their form of completion. Numerically, they are ranked based on strength, and the main character Ashibi works together with the strongest one of all, with a pact of his body being the toll once they have worked together to exterminate all other fabricants. Off the bat, what I like about this story is that we have a young MC with a twisted sense of self-worth, and that worth being a great part of the narrative when looking at his character. Ashibi's blood is so powerful in terms of fabricant attraction that he is willing to use himself as bait in order for number 100, aka the strongest fabricant, to eliminate the rest. It creates an interesting situation between the two because even with number 100 slaughtering her own kind for her own personal gain, she still has to protect Ashibi, and yet she still wants to claim his body for her own personal goals. Their relationship, as well as the very nuanced topic of what an ideal human being is and fabricants' humanity in relation to humans themselves, makes this story very interesting as the cast grows. We also have a unique power system that is more in tune with awakening latent potential and utilizing that potential to its most potent degree. It's very reminiscent of something like the fundamentals of Undead Unluck, as recognizing the conditions of your power and utilizing it with pros and cons in mind is typically how the battles have managed to stand out. Now I gotta be honest, I have been very hesitant with doing weekly Shonen Jump recommendations lately, and even though this is kind of a recommendation video, I do have to warn you guys now that Fabricate 100 just might get axed. I don't want to manifest anything, but keeping up with the weekly Shonen Jump TOC tends to tell the whole story. The TOC stands for Jump's Table of Contents, and it's typically organized based off the chapter's ranking. Over the past few weeks, Fabricant has been in the very lower half consecutively. Now this isn't to say that Fabricant 100 is a bad series, because it is far from it. In fact, I'd argue that it can easily be one of the best new series in Jump if the author and their team wills it to be so. However, it's clearly not a series that Japanese fans especially are rocking with right now. I don't know if it's because the idea of fabricants are unpopular or if it's because the MC is really not the most formulaic shonen protagonist, but it's not looking good, guys. The thing that really sucks about a lot of the axes that come within Shonen Jump is that overseas fans really do not get to control much regardless if we support it or not. What matters in Japan is the overall reception, the amount of reprints of volumes within stores, peers speaking on a series, and all of those things are something we really can't contribute to. Ruri Dragon is a prime example, as even with the series being absent from Jump for a few months now, the amount of reprints the manga had just off the first handful of chapters alone is ridiculous. It's clear that Ruri is a gold mine waiting to continue to be pursued, and therefore the author is able to take their time recovering until the day the manga returns. Jump doesn't mind waiting as much as they don't mind axing, and it's an unfortunate truth given how impatient they are. They see something not doing too well out the gate and they are ready to get that series off the road in a heartbeat. To make it worse, how something like Roboko is managing to survive in the top 10 and get a movie is beyond me, but it really shows where Japanese fans' tastes lie. It feels like things that tend to really attempt to break out the box get shut down before it truly takes flight, which is why people have branched out to reading other magazines. People are tired of being invested in new series only for them to get cut off, and I cannot blame them. Right now, Shonen Jump is in an extremely desperate situation with finding a successor to recent booming series excluding One Piece. My Hero Academia is in its final battle, Black Clover is in their final battle, Gojo and Sukuna are scrapping as we speak, and there are 0 manga right now that are even scrapping half of the impact of any of these manga that are brought to the table. They are more desperate than you all may realize, and if they don't find a winner soon, Jump Plus is gonna be the magazine to pay attention to. Series like Kindergarten Wars especially is cooking, and it's got that same energy as Sakamoto days, but with a lot more initial success. Y'all remember the video I made about the era of long-running shonen coming to an end? Well, as the time goes on, it's still getting more and more true. All of the new gen series clearly have no implication to tell a long-term story, which is fine, but it doesn't erase Jump's core issue. Leaving One Piece lonely at the top is not going to help the magazine survive, and so anything new that doesn't scratch the itch they need is going to get cut off to make way for potential new booming candidates. That's just how it is, and I would be surprised if Fabricant makes it to the next year unless we get a miracle overnight. Now, I'm not saying to not read Fabricant 100 100 just because it's in that area of potentially getting axed. At the end of the day, a manga is somebody's dream, and I wholeheartedly believe that this series in particular is worth investing in. I'm just saying to not be surprised if this does get axed because it has not been able to pull itself to a high position yet on the charts, and it's really lacking the overall noise it needs to truly survive. These days, it's all about having the initial boom or having a godlike adaptation, and it's not looking like Fabricate will even make it to an anime. Of course, you all know I'm not really somebody who likes to be negative and pessimistic all the time, so I genuinely hope that I am wrong and that this video will end up being a waste of time someday. However, if there is one thing that I've learned over the years is that the industry is cruel and it will yield to no emotions. It's still a business at the end of the day, and as I always do, I'm just telling it as it is. If you do need a recommendation, however, I highly recommend checking out Fabricate 100 and giving it a shot while it's here to hopefully see a chance of survival for it. I think it's having a great start so far, and by the time you catch up, I'm sure you'll share the same sentiment. That's pretty much it from me though. As always, thank you for watching, and make sure to leave all your thoughts about Fabricate 100 or Shonen Jump's axing streak in the comments section down below. Stay cool out there, and I will catch you all in the next video.